think most part it's about quality of life. You know, there's little problems and there's big problems, but what we like to focus on is when complaints come in, you know, we like to focus on what's actually affecting people. The code enforcement team for the City of Arvada is there to address safety and quality life of concerns for all of our citizens. So yeah, we're going to serve a repeat offender. This house has violations pretty much nonstop. This current list of violations, there's about 6 of them, are well over 100 days old. John, I've got some summonses for you. Do you have a driver's license or something that can confirm your identity to me? Let me just go over everything with you. Yeah, 1 inoperable, unlicensed vehicle, failure to maintain exterior, accumulation of rubbish, obstruction of a sidewalk, home occupation. Are you doing like scrapping or something out of the house?
A little bit, yeah.
We just want to encourage them to maintain the same standard of living that all of the other neighbors are expected to maintain. For Zebra 1, ordinance violation. It's probably about as good as I can expect. I mean, he was aware of all the violations. There were no surprises. Arvada is roughly 41 square miles, so you could imagine how labor intensive and how personnel intensive it would be to actually be proactive. Really, there's not a lot of problems with businesses, but one of the concerns that we have is, especially post-COVID, a lot of small businesses are trying to bounce back and recover from that time frame, and so a lot of them buy additional signage and stuff like that to try and drum up business, which is great. But the problem is a lot of them are doing it without knowing what is and isn't allowed. Complaints can come in through a lot of forms. You know, we can take complaints at the front counter of the police department and the substations. We can take complaints by telephone. You can send us a letter, but in the end, everything winds up in Ask Arvada, which is kind of our records management system. So one of the trends that I noticed in code enforcement is that we get an unusually large amount of anonymous complaints. And what I was seeing is that a lot of these anonymous complaints, they weren't workable. So we pulled roughly 6 months of data and found that 93% of anonymous complaints during this 6-month period did not result in a case being opened. Whether that's because somebody gave us the wrong address, maybe they gave us an address that was just outside of the city. Problem is that we had no way to communicate that to these citizens. And without that, they're looking out their window every single day wondering why we're not addressing their problem, but we don't know where the problem is, or maybe we can't communicate with them that it's not a problem. We did bring this up to City Council and received unanimous support from the members that were present that we should move away from taking anonymous complaints.
We're not all about going out there and harassing everybody and nitpicking them to fix minute issues on their property. But a lot of these situations that I come across, I learn that these people have, you know, circumstances that are sometimes be out of their control.
He had exhausted all efforts to attempt to get hold of this person, whether it's, you know, first-class mail or knocking on the door, and he'd asked me to help issue a summons. He went out and tried one more time himself. The resident had become very ill and was hospitalized for 6 months.
When I got to the property, I had my ticket in hand. I was getting ready to go and serve it, and the resident come around the corner and he was in a wheelchair.
Through the course of his hospitalization and with this illness, that made it physically impossible for them to do the work that needed to be done.
I was able to go to the community table and speak with them, and I mean, they're amazing. They provided me with 2 large shopping baskets full of food. I was able to take those supplies to this resident and drop them off, and they were extremely appreciative.
The code officer found a group that volunteered to come out and correct the violations. They even brought their own roll-off dumpster. And they did, you know, in this case, what this citizen was physically incapable of doing. The fact of the matter is that no amount of ticket would have solved this problem. This resident, due to this illness, was incapable of doing this work. So, and that's, in the end, what we want is compliance. A ticket doesn't always equal compliance. You know, in this case, a ticket would have solved nothing. We like open lines of communication. In the end, our goal is compliance. We want the problem fixed. This isn't about writing tickets or generating revenue through ticket writing or fines or fees. This is about getting the problem fixed. So open lines of communication are paramount. Contact your code enforcement officer. If there's something that's unclear in the notice of violation, ask them what it means and what you need to do to fix it.